Let's talk about PDFs. How do we process them? We've learned about working with files in our previous section with Python. And you can imagine that we can work with any files. We've learned about image processing, but we've also learned that we can just manipulate any text file, any PDF file, any CSV or Excel file. These are all just file types that we can process and work with in Python. In this section, we're going to talk about PDF and how this might work. And this knowledge of PDF will transfer to different file formats. Now, we're going to talk about Excel files and CSV files later on in the course when we get into machine learning. But for now, let's work with PDFs and see how we can use Python to make our lives easier. Now, I'm going to link to some PDF files that we have here that we're going to use in this section. We have a simple dummy PDF file. We have another PDF file that actually has 2 pages. And then we have a watermark PDF, which we're going to save for our final project in this section. But let's go back here. From what we've learned so far, what do you think our first step is? Well, our first step is to find a library that we can use with Python to process PDF files. And get ready. For this section, I have a really impressive website. Probably the best website you've seen, probably the cleanest, most modern website when it comes to the package that we're installing. We're installing something called pip3 install pypdf2. Now, there's a lot of packages that we can install when it comes to PDFs. This is the one that I recommend for the course. Now, while this is installing, in my case, it's already installed. Let me show you what their website documentation looks like. Get ready. It's pretty. Here it is. Wow, right? I don't know why, but for some reason, Python documentation websites are not the prettiest. This is all subjective, right? Some people like this, but it just doesn't get you excited about working with PDFs. This website does it. Anyway, you can see over here that it's actually not that big of a library. And you can click on the documentation and again, read through everything. But let's just learn the basics. So the first thing I'm going to do is import pypdf2. And what we're going to do is work with the first one, the dummy.pdf, which is just this PDF file that is one single page that says dummy PDF file. Nothing too exciting. Now, how can we open this file? We know this from previous lessons, right? We can use the with open command and we'll say dummy.pdf. And I can say it like this because we're in the same folder. I have a pdf.py file that I've created. So I'm just saying, hey, grab the dummy PDF from the same directory. And in here, let's for now just do read because I want to read the file. And then just say as file. And for now, print file to see what we get. I'm going to run this file by saying python3 pdf.py. Let's see what happens. All right, I get a text IO wrapper, name, dummy PDF. All right, it looks like it's working. Let's just explore this a little bit more to see that it is indeed working. What we can do is actually use the PyPDF to read the file. So let's do this. We can say reader equals PyPDF and use the method PDF file reader. Again, it allows us to read this Python file. So let's just give it file in here. And then we'll just print reader, and we can ask for a number of pages. Again, this comes with the library. So let's run this and see what happens. All right, we get an error. It says PDF read warning. PDF file reader stream file object is not in binary mode. What does that mean? Well, remember, binary is ones and zeros, right? If I click on dummies, dummy.pdf, this is not the PDF we thought. This is how a PDF should look, but you see, depending on the program that you're running, it might not be able to read the PDF file. So what we need to do, and this is just a standard that you have to remember, is that we want to read the binary. So it's read and then binary. So what happens here is that this creates a file stream object. So it's going to convert the file object to binary mode so that the PyPDF2 file reader can read this binary file object. So now if I run this again, look at that. It's able to read it and it tells me that this has one page. If I do 2page.pdf and run this, we get 2 pages. Awesome. Let's clear this and go back to our dummy.pdf. I feel bad for naming this PDF dummy. I shouldn't be mean to this PDF. I'll work on my naming conventions next time. So just like we saw in the image processing, with PyPDF, we can do a lot of things to process this image. For example, I can do get page here. And if I do get page, let's say the first page, and I run this, we get the page object over here. Now it looks like gibberish here because, well, this is a special object that PyPDF creates. But if I do something like page 1, which will be the page 2 in this case, I get an error, an index error, saying list index out of range because the dummy PDF only has one page. We can also do different things like, let's, for example, rotate this image, and we'll rotate it 180 degrees. If I run this, this doesn't work. Now, why is this? It's because PyPDF2 uses the reader object, but it needs to know what to rotate. In our case, we actually have to get the page of the reader to rotate it. So we have to do something like reader.getPage, get the first page of our dummy PDF, and assign this to the page variable. So that now that we have the page object, remember, a page object and a reader object. If I now run this, well, I get page object has no attribute rotate. And I may have tricked you a little bit to prove a point here. Now, this rotate object sounds like something that it should have, but it's actually not the right name that we want. So how can we solve this? And this gets back to us reading the documentation. If I go back to the file reader and let's search rotate, or let's go back here, we see that we have the page object class, which we have, right? We have the page object. If I click over here, let's find rotate. And we have a few things. We have merge rotate page. We keep going. And all right, we have rotate clockwise, rotate counterclockwise, and the angle. So it looks like this is what we need. We don't actually have a rotate method. But you see here, this is how we figure out what the library does. We also have scale to, scale by if we wanted to. So let's just copy rotate clockwise, or let's do rotate counterclockwise. And we'll just do 90. If I save this and run, all right, we get back an object here. But this object is actually in memory. If I go back to my dummy, nothing has changed because we haven't really saved anything. This is all in my computer's memory. When this program stops running, well, it gets trashed. So let's update our dummy.pdf to actually write and rotate counterclockwise. How can we do that? Well, with another with keyword. So inside of with open, we're going to say with open, and we'll call this, let's say, crooked. I don't know if this is how you spell crooked, so let's go with tilt.pdf. And we're going to open this file, and we're going to write to this file in binary format. And we're going to say as file. And in here, we're going to write the file. to this new file. But how can we do this? This library gives us something called a writer object. So we can create a writer variable, and this writer variable will use the py_pdf.pdf. Instead of file reader, we have a file writer. And this allows us to write the object in memory so that now I can say writer.write. And just to make the naming convention appropriate, let's say this is going to be the new file. So we'll say new file. So let's see if this works. I'm going to clear, and let's run this. All right, we have tilt.pdf. But we actually forgot to do one thing because we've just opened a writer object, but we're not actually writing any PDFs into it. Ideally, we get the rotated page and write inside of it, right? So what we can do is remove the print here. We've rotated the page. And with the writer object that we have now, we can say writer.addPage and give it the page that we've rotated. So now, if I run this one more time and go to tilt, well, again, we see gibberish here. But if we open this, look at that. Our PDF is rotated, just like that. Very, very cool. So that's great, but kind of useless, right? Who really rotates PDFs? That's really hard to read. But at least this shows you the ability for us to process PDFs. Let's work on something more exciting. In the next video, I want us to do something a little bit more useful than this. So let's take a break and I'll see you in the next one.